At Stop the Stigma, we recognize that language matters. Often use person-first language because it centers on the humanity over diagnoses or system involvement and reflects our commitment to dignity, respect, and equity. At the same time, we honor that some individuals prefer identity language, and we encourage speakers and participants to respect personal preferences whenever possible. Although this conference is being held virtually, we do acknowledge the Indigenous persons whose lands we occupy as we gather, learn, and collaborate. The community is headquartered in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, on traditional homelands of the Ho-Chunk Nation, the Menominee Nation, and the Potawatomi Nation, with enduring ties to the Ojibwe and Odawa peoples of the Council of the Three Fires. Moxie Educational Services is based in New Hampshire on the ancestral lands of the Avensky and Pennacook peoples, whose history, cultures, and sovereignty continue today. We honor their resilience, their ongoing contributions, and enduring relationship to the land itself. This acknowledgement is only a beginning. We encourage all attendees to learn more about the Indigenous nations and people that whose lands we reside on, and support ongoing efforts towards Indigenous justice and sovereignty. Accessibility. Accessibility is a shared responsibility. Thank you for helping to create a conference and culture rooted in respect, care, and openness. ASL interpreters are provided, and CART services have been turned on. If access needs should arise at any point, please do notify the moderators for their awareness, and they will try to do their best to help you. Prior to the play beginning, I do want to take the opportunity to help support the deaf, blind, and blind communities. With that being said, we will start with a brief visual description. I will go first, and then I will go from there, but it will just be a visual description, not a background bio description. It's simply what you look like currently. So my name is Ben Wright. I am performing the role of Nick in the play. I am a white man. I am balding with a beard, glasses, and a black shirt on that has white lettered writing. I think my background you'd refer to as beige, but that would be what's behind me. I will now hand it on over to Shelley first. Hello, I'm Shelley Barber. I've been playing the role of Becky. I am wearing a black shirt. I'm a white woman with brown long hair, shoulder length hair, wearing glasses, and I have a blue background, a blue wallpaper background with a white bottom to the wall. There's also a picture on the wall behind me of Susan Anthony, excuse me, for the revolution. Ben here. Okay, Beth, can you go next?
Yes, thank you. My name is Beth Koenig, and I play the role of Kenton, the attorney for Nick, as well as some other various roles like guards and hiring managers. I am currently in Minnesota. I have very white complexion with rosy cheeks. I have medium gray hair with some white streaks along the temples. I'm wearing some funky glasses that have kind of a gold matte frame at the top and they're outlined in black. And I'm in a navy blue shirt. And I have kind of a blurred background that you see a faint description of a lamp and a bookshelf.
Great, thank you. The next one would be Joel. Hello, everyone. I am Joel. I am playing the role of Ricky, and I'm also playing the role of Bunky, a deaf prisoner. My background, or well, I'm wearing a gray shirt. I have a beard. It's a little bit gray in the beard with clear glasses on. In my background, I have it blurred. So it's not very clear, and that sums me up. Okay, Paula.
Hello, my name is Paula Forbes. I work for an organization called My Way Out. I play Nellie and Ben's grandma. I wear a black shirt, turtleneck with a silver chain with speckled cat eye glasses, and I am an African American woman.
Okay, great. And we'll go over to Trip.
Hello, can you hear me? I'm a middle-aged white male, short brown hair. I will be the narrator today. I'm wearing a dark gray shirt, and my background is blurred office with the beeps in the background.
My name is Andre Bridges. I'll be playing the role of Steven. I'm an African American man, bald, and I'm wearing a white hoodie. My background is the best way to describe it. There's a lime green stripe across the ceiling. Also formerly incarcerated.
Excellent. Jenny?
Hi, my name is Jenny Benedetti. I am a white woman with shoulder length brown hair. I have gold rimmed glasses and I'm wearing a black long sleeve t-shirt. My black background is blurred.
Teresa?
Hi, my name is Teresa Gray. I play the role of Caroline. I am a woman in my 60s with short, dark hair with significant gray. I am Caucasian. I also have on a black turtleneck with a silver chain. Our background is our house, so you see windows and a door and some pictures. And I am sharing the screen with my husband, who plays the role of Robert.
Jeff?
Yeah, she said all my stuff. So my name's Jeff Wright, and I'm playing the role of Robert, Ben's dad. I don't have to share with you what our background is because it's the same. I have gray hair, not a whole lot of it, more than some, but less than a lot of others. And I have on an aqua colored shirt.
Thank you for supporting our blind participants. Next, Becca?
Hi, I'm Becca. I play the role of Mary. I am a white woman, 59 years old. I have long curly hair. The top is gray, the bottom is blue. I have blue glasses and blue fingernails. And I don't know if I said my background is green. Oh, and I have on a black shirt.
Brian?
Hi, I am a middle-aged man. I have brown hair, slightly graying on the sides. I am wearing glasses. I'm Caucasian. My background is middle-aged man apartment blurred, and I'm wearing a orange tan top.
Jen, sorry.
I am a 52-year-old Latina female. I am wearing a dark
colored long sleeve shirt with the community logo on it. I'm wearing reader glasses. My hair is dark with lots of silver speckled in. And I am in my house with a dark gray background, a picture of 3 African women in the background, and a plant stand.
Again, thank you for supporting our blind and deafblind visitors. A few reminders before we get started. The chat will be open, and we do encourage you to use it. Please keep it respectful and inclusive. Microphones, attendance microphones and cameras are going to be off. If something comes up, please let us know. Before we get started, I want to offer a brief message about how to experience this play. Brick by Brick is a live reading of a play that was written to be fully stage tonight. You will hear us. Many of the things from the story are what typically happens, is seen and heard fully on a stage. We invite you to imagine a world around words. Imagine the noise of the gates closing and opening. Imagine the overwhelming noise as you look into the room where the phone is ringing and chairs are scratching around the room and guards are yelling at individuals, while a deaf son and hearing family struggle to communicate without a shared language. Imagine the vulnerability of a strip search and the isolation, the tension of having people look at you. There is a moment in the play where all of the characters will be on stage together. Each person will be spotlit briefly. As you hear, we encourage you to imagine what it might look like on stage with all the cameras and the significance of what is happening. Because this is a live reading, some visual and physical parts are going to be implied, not shown. We ask that you use your imagination, let it do its work to imagine a play on an actual stage. Whether you relate through disability, incarceration, family, faith, work, or you just have the desire to be understood, this space is for you, and this story is for you. Thank you for your willingness to go into this together. And with no further ado, this is Brick by Brick.
Scene 1. Setting. Flashing red and blue police lights bathe the darkened front yard. Nick, early 30s, deaf, stands barefoot in jeans and a t-shirt. He looks towards the officers, but can barely make out what they're saying. The audience hears only garbled fragments, as Nick would. 2 police officers approach, shouting commands Nick can't hear. They gesture sharply.
Hands! Hands! Get on the ground!
I don't understand. What's going on?
He signs the word understand instinctively, though no one else signs.
Don't move. Don't you move.
They slam Nick onto the ground, knee pressing into his back. Nick winces but doesn't fight. His hands are yanked behind him and he's cuffed.
I'm deaf. I can't hear you.
There's no response. The officers haul him upright roughly. The lights shift. Flashing red and blue spins into blinding white. The blare of a police station overhead lights. New setting, jail intake room. Cement walls, metal bench. A CO stands holding clipboard. No words, just gestures. Nick stares blankly, waiting. Finally, the CO points towards a small holding cell.
In now.
Please, can someone explain? I'm deaf. I need an interpreter.
The CO stares blankly, impatient, points again harder. Nick steps inside. The heavy door clangs shut behind him. Loud for the audience, silent to Nick. Inside is a metal toilet, bench, and nothing else. Ants crawl near the floor. The light flickers.
Okay, okay. Stay calm. You know how to do this. You survived school like this. You survived both. Oh, maybe you didn't.
He rubs his arms, shivering despite the stale, thick air. He looks around, desperate for some orientation. A clock, a window, anything.
Is it night? Morning? How long?
He walks the perimeter of the tiny cell. 3 steps across, 3 steps back. The ants crawl closer, undeterred. Nick watches them crawling along the edges of his shoe. The bench digs sharply into his back as he sits. The overhead light buzzes a little louder with each flicker. Outside, the muted sounds of guards laughing filters through the cracks in the door.
That's the deaf one, right? Poor bastard. He can't even scream properly.
Doesn't need to. Nobody's listening.
Nick turns his face towards the wall, trying to block the visual of them out. He knew they were talking about him, but couldn't understand what they were saying. Time passes. A tray slides through the slot. Cold bread, a tiny apple, a lump of something unidentifiable.
I can't.
He touches the bread lightly, then pushes the tray aside. He curls up tighter, eyes fluttering shut. Lights dim slightly to indicate a passage of time. Nick curls up on the bench and sleeps. A dreamlike sequence starts. Low blue lighting. In the distance, we hear faint barking. A memory of Nemo. Other soft sounds drift in. The clatter of dishes at Grandma's house. The thump of a tail on hardwood. The smell of lasagna.
Nima, goodbye. I'll be home soon. I hope that's true.
Lights return to the harsh brightness. Nick jerks awake. A new tray of food. Different, but still awful. He stares at the brick wall across from him, counting.
One, two, three. The darling, Mike, Tom, Mom, Dad, Stephen, Nellie, May, Juliet, Grandma.
He names each brick silently. His fingers trail across the bench as if touching each name.
I'm still here. I'm still here. You're still with me. I have to believe that.
Another guard appears, tossing an ancient TTY machine into the room with a loud clunk. The screen flickers.
You get one call. Make it.
Nick kneels over the old TTY. The machine clicks and whirs loudly. It's set in Spanish.
Spanish. Jesus Christ.
He squints, tries to remember old Spanish lessons, and types slowly, awkwardly.
Hola, operador. ¿Qué número, por favor?
Okay. G R A N D A.
Lo siento, pero
There's
no
a
contesta. ¿Tienes otro
Nick's
número?
C-A-L-R E-A-C-K. T-E-R-R-G-R-A-N-D-M-A. N-I-C-K. J-A-I-R. P-R-E-A-S-E. A-C-R-P.
There's a long pause. The machine buzzes and clicks. Nick slams the TTY gently, helpless.
Please. Someone help.
Lights go black. Act 1, Scene 3. Setting, Nick's bedroom, late at night. The room is dimly lit by a small bedside lamp. A half-packed duffel bag lies open on the bed. Nemo, a small white Maltipoo, sits at the top of the stairs, ears perked, sensing something is wrong.
Hey, buddy. You're wondering why I'm packing, huh?
Nemo leans his head against Nick's hand. Nick smiles brokenly.
I wish I could tell you. I wish I could explain it in words you'd understand. But how do you tell someone like you, someone good, that you're being left behind? I love you, Lima. I love you more than anything. I'm not leaving because I want to. You didn't do anything wrong.
Nemo whines quietly, tail thumping once against the step.
You wait for me, okay? Like you always do when I go to the stage. Like when I'm gone for a few hours and you sit on stage waiting.
Nick swallows hard.
Except this time, it's gonna be longer. Way longer than either of us know how to count.
He presses his forehead to Nemo's for a moment, breathing him in.
they said, they said maybe 3 years, maybe more. But I'll be back. I'll swear to you. I'll find my way back.
He cups Nemo's tiny face in both hands, gently.
Don't forget about me. Wait for me. Just
Nemo licks Nick's nose.
I'm taking this with me. I'll keep it by my bed, right next to my heart.
Off
I'll be
stage,
back, okay?
a car horn
With
honks
my brick.
once.
I'll build my way back home to you.
He steps closer to the door. Nemo sits still, small and confused on the stairs, watching him leave. Lights dim as Nick exits. A single soft spotlight stays on Nemo a beat longer, then fades to black. Act 1, Scene 4. Setting, County Courthouse arraignment room. The room is sterile and cold. Fluorescent lights hum overhead. A steel rail separates the defendants from the gallery. Family members sit on a worn bench behind the rail. Nick stands alone at the defense table. hands shackled to his waist, ankles shackled as well. A bailiff stands stiffly nearby. In the gallery, Caroline, Robert, and Stephen sit, exhausted from the 2-hour drive, clutching each other with tight, anxious hands. Other defendants are rushed through their arraignments, fast and mechanical. Each case flies by in less than a minute. Nick's case, however, grinds to a halt. The judge peers over reading glasses at the papers in front of him. He looks up, frowning. He waves over the court clerk, who whispers something. Caroline quickly rises and approaches the clerk's desk.
I'm his mother. He's deaf. He needs an interpreter. Where's the interpreter?
We don't do interpreters here.
Caroline stares, stunned. Robert rises behind her but says nothing, his fist clenched. The judge sighs heavily, pulls a legal pad towards himself, and begins writing. Nick watches silently, confused, shackled, and alone. The bailiff walks over and places the judge's handwritten note in front of Nick.
What is your name?
The judge writes another note.
You have been charged. Do you understand?
The bailiff reads it, shrugs, and carries it back. The judge sighs again, frustrated, but proceeds to write even more. The silence in the courtroom stretches painfully long. The other defendants, lawyers, and clerks glance at each other, uncomfortable with the delay. Whispers start in the back row. Finally, after several back and forth exchanges by paper, the judge scrawls a final note.
Bail set. Next court date scheduled. You will receive notice.
The bailiff motions brusquely for Nick to step back towards the holding area. Shackles clank as Nick moves stiffly, humiliated. In the gallery, Caroline presses a trembling hand to her mouth. Stephen watches wide-eyed and broken. As Nick turns to leave, he lifts his eyes towards his family. Just a fleeting bit of eye contact. No words, no chance to speak, only a silent promise hanging in the fluorescent haze. I'm still here. Lights dim slightly, except for a single spotlight catching Caroline, still sitting on the worn bench. Robert leans in, his arms wrapped tightly around her as she shakes, barely holding it together.
No interpreter. No voice. No rights. He stood there shackled, treated like a criminal before he even had a chance to speak. And no one cared.
She leans harder into Robert's chest, voice cracking.
Do you know what it feels like? To watch your child beg with his hands and be answered with silence? This isn't justice. This is a machine. And it chews good people up without even slowing down.
No one's explaining anything. Just notes, people, words. Words I don't understand. Court dates, bail, charges. It, it's like it's like the world started moving without me, and I'm stuck. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. How do you fight what you can't hear, what you can't see coming?
The lights dim slowly to black. Act 1, Scene 5. Setting, a small, dingy attorney-client meeting room at the county jail. A battered metal table sits at center stage. Two battered chairs. Harsh fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. Nick sits at the table, still in a jail jumpsuit, shackled at the waist and ankles. A thick file folder rests in front of Kenton, in his mid-40s, rumpled and distracted.
You're Nick Wright, right?
Yes?
Hmm. Read the complaint. It's not great, but I've seen worse.
I didn't do what they said. They claimed there was video, but it's gone.
Yeah, well, evidence goes missing all the time. This is small town stuff. Everyone knows everyone. They grew up with these cops. They golf with the judge. You think a jury's gonna side with you over them?
My interpreter wasn't there during interrogation. They wrote things I never said.
Well, it's your word against theirs. Around here, their word wins.
You'll get an interpreter if you could, right?
Eventually.
He leans forward, quieting his tones slightly, like he's offering a mercy.
Here's the deal. You take a plea, maybe probation, maybe some time served. Walk away with less damage. You fight this, you're looking at years, maybe decades.
I didn't do anything.
It doesn't matter. What matters is what they think you did. And in this county, they've already decided. I'll talk to the prosecutor. I'll see if we can sweeten the deal. Be smart, Nick. Don't make this harder than it has to be.
The bailiff starts moving towards Nick. Nick flinches and turns to Kenton one last time, desperate.
Wait. You ever had deaf clients before?
It's complicated. They usually write notes, or the judge just moves on.
Moved on? Without me understanding the subject?
It's not ideal. But fighting it won't help you, not here.
So I just nod and hope they don't bury me alive. You're supposed to protect me, aren't you?
Don't make this harder than it already is.
Lights go black. Act 1, Scene 6. Setting, County Courthouse main courtroom. In the gallery, Caroline, Robert, Stephen, and Nellie sit together, rigid with tension. The judge says, having reviewed the plea agreement and waived a right to trial, sentenced to incarceration. Nick blinks slowly. His breathing is shallow but steady. The bailiff approaches and gestures for Nick to step back towards the holding area. No cuffs this time, no chains. Nick turns. For a moment, just a heartbeat, He locks eyes with his family. Stephen stands up halfway like he wants to run to him, but Caroline's hand shoots out and holds him back. Caroline's face crumples as she forces herself to stay seated. Tears spill down her cheeks silently. Nellie turns her face away, squeezing her hands together hard. Robert remains seated, his knuckles white on the bench, his mouth a thin line. Nick forces a smile, broken, apologetic, yet proud, all at once. The bailiff places a hand on Nick's shoulder and guides him towards the side door. As Nick exits, Stephen finally loses it, his head dropping into his hands, shoulders shaking silently. Caroline covers her mouth with both hands to stifle a sob. Nellie reaches across and grabs Robert's hand without looking. The courtroom empties quickly. The family remains frozen in the gallery, stunned, as if the world has ended, but no one noticed. The lights stay dim, the room now hollow. Kenton, the defense lawyer, shuffles papers quickly at the defense table. He grabs his briefcase and hurries towards the door, but Caroline intercepts him.
Well, what happens now? You said it would be probation.
It still could be. There's still sentencing. I'll handle it.
Stephen stands abruptly, his chair scraping loudly against the floor.
Stephen Murray. Andrea Murray.
You said I could testify. You said they listen.
Andre.
Yes.
bullshit.
We just watched injustice happen right in front of us. What now?
I'll handle it. I'm handling it. Just let me work. It's not over yet.
Kenton exits quickly, leaving the family alone under the buzzing lights. They stand there for a long beat, broken, furious, and helpless. The lights fade to black. Act 1, Scene 6B. Setting, parking garage outside the county courthouse. Dim light, gray concrete everywhere. A family SUV sits center stage.
That isn't fair.
This isn't
No one
fair.
answers. No one answers. The words hang heavy.
This isn't fair.
I stood there. I begged for an interpreter. I begged, and they just shrugged.
We watched them decide his life, and they called it law.
He's not supposed to be in there. He didn't even get to talk. They just locked him up like he was trash.
Nellie, you're muted.
Microphone. You're muted, Nelly.
We tell a story. We don't stop. We don't let them forget who he is.
He's still our son, still our Nick. And we're going to know it.
We don't leave him alone.
Lights fade slowly to a single tight spotlight on the SUV. Small, battered, but unbroken. Act 1, Scene 7. Setting, Stephen's bedroom. He speaks aloud, but it feels like he's half talking to Nick and half talking to himself.
You said it would be different this time. You said you'd stay. I know it's not your fault. I know you didn't leave like everyone else did. First mom, then grandma and grandpa blaming me. Then the system, foster homes that locked the fridge, schools that treated me like trash. Then finally you. You adopted me when I was 14. I still remember the first night. Spaghetti and garlic bread. That little dog you said hated everyone but me. It was the first time in years I didn't sleep with one eye open. You made me believe I could actually have a home again.
He grabs a cracked phone, taps it repeatedly, scrolling through old photos. Nick and Steven at a football game. Nick and Steven at adoption day. Nick grinning proudly at Steven's high school award ceremony.
I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at everything else. I'm mad that the only good thing I ever had got ripped away from me again. I can't do it. I can't sit in some gray room with glass between us pretending everything's fine. I can't see you like that. I'm sorry. I just can't. Please don't forget me. Don't forget what we had. Don't forget that you made me believe in.
The lights dim slowly around him, leaving him silhouetted against the faint blue glow of a cracked phone screen. Act 1, Scene 8. Setting, County Jail Visiting Room. Dingy plastic chairs, a cracked clock on the wall. A vending machine hums loudly. Juliet and Mary sit side by side, fidgeting nervously.
Do you think they'll let us talk? Like, actually talk?
He said 15 minutes through the glass.
15 minutes? Like, that's enough time for anything. I should have brought a damn script.
He's going to be so happy to see us.
Yeah. But still, it's going to wreck him. God, I hate this place.
Me too.
A guard appears and motions for them to follow. Lights shift to the visitation area. A wall of glass, phones mounted at each station. Nick enters from the side. Thin, pale, visibly smaller already, wearing a faded jail jumpsuit. He sits heavily at the glass. Juliet and Mary rush to their seats, lifting the phones.
You can.
Of course we came, you dumbass.
We're here. We're not going anywhere.
I missed you.
We miss you more. Stephen got his hair cut. Finally. He looks like a freaking porcupine. Um, and Grandma, she made lasagna last week. She set a plate for you. I'm sorry. Everything's just so weird without you.
What about Lima? How's he doing?
Still waiting for you by the stairs. Every day. He knows you're coming back.
Mom, Dad, are they okay?
Worried, tired, but fighting for you every day.
It's all right. You're not alone.
A guard taps the glass, indicating time's almost up.
Tell Stephen, tell him I love him. Tell my parents, thank you. Tell yourself, thank you for not giving up.
Never.
Is there even a point to any of this?
The point is, you're still here. The point is, your story isn't finished. We survive first. We rebuild after.
You inspire all of us, you idiot. You don't even know it. You always believed in everyone, even when there was no reason for it. Now, it is our turn to believe in you.
The guard taps the glass sharply. Time's up.
If I don't get to say this again, I love you. All of you. Thank you for not giving up.
The guard hits the glass hard.
We are not done. We're not done, Nick. We are never done.
Lights dim slowly as the guard steps between them, separating their worlds once again. The guard motions. Nick presses his hand to the glass one more time. Juliet and Mary do the same. Lights fade on the visitation room. Lights rise briefly outside the jail, near the visitor parking lot. Mary stumbles forward, hands shaking.
I can't believe that this is happening. He's a good person. He is a damn good person. What the hell is wrong with this world? Why do the good ones have to be the ones behind the glass? Why him? Why Nick? He doesn't deserve any of this.
No, I know. But we are not leaving him. Not ever.
I feel so helpless.
Then feel it. And then we fight harder.
This is too much. We have to deal with so much crap already. Our kids, our jobs. And now he's in here. How are we supposed to help our students? How do we even explain this?
The Bible tells us God is near to the brokenhearted. He saves those crushed in spirit.
You are always quoting the Bible to me.
Because it's true.
Fine. What do we tell people then? Like when they ask where he's gone, what do we say?
We tell them the truth. We tell them the system's broken and that Nick deserves to come home. We tell them that silence makes it worse. We tell them that he matters.
The truth will come out. It has to.
Lights fade slowly as they stand together, two small figures against the vast emptiness of a parking lot. Act 1, Scene 9. Setting, various locations across the prison. A minimalist set, a cot, a library cart, a cafeteria table, simple lighting shifts. The scenes flow into each other fluidly, like memories blending together. First, Nick stands center stage, arms at his side. A sharp whistle blows. A CO barrels towards him.
Move!
Nick flinches, confused. He tries to gesture, signs, "I'm deaf."
Move, I said.
Before Nick can react, the CO shoves him hard to the ground. The audience hears a thud. Nick grits his teeth, not fighting back. The lights shift. The library. Nick sits at the metal table beside Ricky, 50s, deaf, low literacy. Ricky clutches the children's coloring book in front of him, crayons scattered across the table.
Ricky, do you want to learn how to add for store day?
Ricky looks up, confused but eager. He smiles shyly, nodding. Nick pulls out a battered piece of paper, draws simple store items: soup, chips, soap. He signs $1, $2.
Count with me. 1, 2.
Ricky taps the paper, trying to follow. His tongue pokes out in concentrations. Lights shift again. A classroom. Nick stands among other inmates at desks. A teacher passes out worksheets. Nick watches as the deaf inmates, Ricky included, receive nothing but blank coloring pages. Nick flips his own paper over. He scrawls a simple math lesson by hand, slides it discreetly to Ricky under the table. Lights shift to Nick alone on his bunk. He stares at the gray ceiling, battered photo of Nemo tucked under his pillow.
Brick by brick. Brick by brick.
The lights shift again. Alarm blaring faintly. A fire alarm. Everyone bolts for the exits. Nick sits frozen on his bunk. No flashing lights, no clue what's happening. A guard runs past, shouting inaudibly. Nick finally stumbles out, hearing his heart hammering. The lights slow. Nick returns to center stage, breathing hard, bruised, but still standing. Act 1, Scene 11. Setting, various quick flashes across the prison. A chow hall, a darkened yard, and Nick's bunk.
You always look like you're ready to bolt. You don't got to run with me around, you know.
Thank you.
The
You gotta
lights
walk.
shift. Outside on the yard at dusk, Nick and Matt sit side by side on a crumbling bench. Other inmates prowl the yard like sharks.
You got to walk like you own the place, even if you're scared shitless.
It's hard. I don't hear when they're coming.
Good thing you got me then.
The lights shift again. They're now in Nick's bunk at night. Nick lies on the lower bunk, staring at the springs above. Matt sits at the foot of the bed, tying his boots.
You're mine, you know.
What do you mean?
Means I got your back. Means you stay close. Means you listen to me.
The lights shift again. A chow hall. Busy, noisy. Nick reaches for a second tray without thinking, distracted. Matt snaps, grabbing Nick's wrist roughly.
I said one tray. One.
Nick freezes, eyes wide. Matt lets go, the grip leaving a faint mark on Nick's skin.
You make me look weak. They come for both of us. You get that?
Lights shift again. The yard. Matt pulls Nick aside roughly by the sleeve.
You're not like the rest of them. You're better. You're mine. And I don't share what's mine.
You think being stunted is a weakness?
In here? Hell yeah. In prison, you cry once. You flinch once. You're marked. Weakness? It's blood in the water, Nick.
Not weakness. It's human.
Where I grew up, being tough wasn't a choice. It was survival. I got jumped more times than I can count. Called every name. Beaten for smiling too much. Beaten for looking the wrong way. You learn real fast. Love makes you weak.
Love makes you strong.
You don't get it. Hope? Hope gets you killed.
Hope kept me alive. Keeps me alive.
That's because you're stupid and stubborn.
They sit in silence for a moment, two broken pieces fitting together just for now. The lights dim slowly as the noise of the prison rises up again, louder, harsher, as if trying to drown them both out. Act 1, Scene 12. Setting, various areas inside the prison. The rec yard, the day room, the chow hall. Lighting is harsh and clinical. A sense of confusion hums around everything. Nick stands among a group of deaf inmates, Ricky and a few others. They cluster near a bulletin board covered with complicated COVID protocol notices, long paragraphs full of jargon. One inmate squints at the page, signing sloppily.
Mask? No mask? Oh, you have to wear the mask all the time. Why? It's a mask optional.
Nick scans the paper. The wording is dense, legalistic, and full of contradictions.
They say it's optional, but if you don't, you get punished.
The deaf inmate glances nervously around. Guards pace at the edge of the yard, watching. A guard approaches, barking an order.
Everyone mask up now.
The inmates stand there confused. Ricky signs questioningly.
What he say? Mask now. Cover your face.
Ricky fumbles with his mask, dropping it twice. Other inmates don't move as fast. The guard waves over two more guards. They grab the deaf inmates roughly, dragging them towards segregation.
They didn't understand. They didn't hear you.
Nobody listens. Ricky struggles briefly, then goes limp. One of the guards sneers at Nick.
Not my problem.
The lights shift. Nick sitting in the tiny library, head in his hands. The librarian stands nearby, annoyed.
I can't help them if they can't read. Tell them to learn.
They need pictures, signs, anything. You can't just throw books at people you can't read.
The librarian just shrugs and walks away. Nick slams the book shut. The lights shift again. A day room, empty except for Nick. He stares at the blank wall where announcements are sometimes posted.
We're not invisible. You just don't want to see us.
The light shifts slightly. The scene morphs. We're now in the prison commissary line. Deaf inmates fumble with torn scraps of paper, lists they can barely read. The CO behind the counter calls out loudly, fast and impatient.
Next, what do you want?
One deaf inmate steps up, holding out his paper list helplessly. The CO sighs, annoyed.
Ugh, I can't read your damn chicken scratch. Say it.
The deaf man points desperately at a county bar behind the glass. A CO grabs it, punches it into the register.
That's $2.50. You got it or not?
The deaf man signs questioningly. Do I have enough? But the CO doesn't understand. After a beat, the CO slams the candy back on the shelf and waves him off.
No money? Move on.
The inmate steps back ashamed, not understanding what just happened. He clutches his useless paper list to his chest. Back in the common area, Nick signs urgently.
It's not your fault. They don't explain. They don't help.
The light shifts slightly again. The scene morphs to a new bulletin board in the dorm room. A COVID memo is posted. New, dense legal English, no pictures, no clear instructions. Several deaf inmates crowd around, confused, trying to parse it out. Nick signs quickly to another deaf man.
Masks, rules, isolation.
The other deaf man shrugs, blank. A CO storms in.
Put your masks on or you're going to the hole.
The inmates scatter, panicked, not understanding. One man is grabbed roughly and cuffed. He didn't pull his mask up fast enough.
Non-compliance, resisting orders.
Nick stands frozen, fists clenched helplessly at his sides. The lights shift slowly back to the metal table. Nick in his bunkie again.
Why punish us? We don't hear. Because it's easier to punish what you don't understand.
Why?
Because they'd rather break us than fix anything.
Lights dim slowly, heavy silence falling over the prison walls. Nick left sitting alone under the flickering fluorescent light. Act 1, Scene 12B. Setting, a prison visitation room. Plastic chairs bolted to the floor. A low scratch table between visitor side and inmate side. A CO stands against the walls, arm folded. The faint hum of vending machine fills the background. Nick stands stiffly in his jumpsuit, fidgeting. He wipes his sweaty palms on his pants. His breathing is shallow. His chest is tight. The door buzzes loudly. It swings open. Caroline, Robert, Stephen, and Nellie enter. They look thinner, grayer, older, but their faces light up when they see him. Nick freezes. Fear, excitement, shame, everything flashes across his face. Caroline hesitates for only a second before rushing forward. The CO starts to bark something, but stops when he sees Nick's complete stillness. Caroline throws her arms around Nick. For a split second, he stiffens, then slowly melts into the hug, burying his face into her shoulder.
We missed you. I missed you so much.
Robert steps forward next. He claps Nick lightly on the shoulder, awkward, then surprises both of them by pulling Nick into a tight hug.
I'm proud of you, Nick. So damn proud.
Stephen hangs back for a moment. His eyes brim with tears. Nick opens his arms wordlessly. Stephen bolts into his chest, wrapping his arms around him like he's afraid he'll disappear again.
Sorry I stayed away. I'm sorry.
You're here now. That's what matters.
Nellie is next, rushing forward and grabbing Nick by both hands. She grins fiercely at him.
Still standing, still fighting.
Nick nods, wiping his eyes with the sleeve of a jumpsuit. The group sits awkwardly, talking over each other, trying to cram months of love into just minutes. The CO taps his watch. Time's almost up. Nick stands slowly. He looks at each one of them, committing their faces to memory.
Thank you for not forgetting me.
Dude, you lost so much weight.
The food here would kill a cockroach.
Stephen leans closer to Nick, lowering his voice.
Bet you dream about real pizza, huh?
I dream about anything that isn't gray or cold.
They all laugh, the first real laugh, but it fades fast under the loud clang of another dorm slamming shut. Nick flinches slightly. The family notices but doesn't comment.
We brought you some money for your account. You can, get snacks, soap, whatever you need.
Nick smiles faintly, gratitude and sadness mixing together. The noise around them grows louder. Another family arguing loudly between two booths. Nick misses the part of what Caroline says and leans closer to hear.
Slow down. Too loud.
We've been doing okay. Hang on.
Great grandma made cookies. Said they're waiting for you. Grandpa fixed the old mailbox finally. Grandma, she's been knitting like crazy. Man, it's weird without you. Like something's missing all the time.
I missed you too. All of you.
The noise spikes again. A screaming toddler, a guard barking orders. Nick rubs his temple, overwhelmed by the sensory overload. Caroline reaches out to Nick, forgetting for a moment that she couldn't touch him. She slowly moves her hand back.
No matter what, we're still your family. Always.
And you're still you. They can't take that.
The lights dim slowly as the visiting time ends, the family lingering behind, refusing to let him go easily. They all stall as Nick steps back, the door buzzing open again behind him. Lights fade slowly, holding on the image of Nick smiling. Small, tired, but real. Act 1, Scene 13. Setting, prison visitation room. Same cold plastic chairs, same scratch table. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead, washing everything in pale blue. Nick sits nervously at the table, his foot tapping anxiously. Caroline enters, moving slower than usual. Her eyes are red-rimmed, but determined. She carries a small battered envelope in her one hand. Nick perks up, hope lighting his face.
How's Dima? Did you bring pictures?
Caroline struggles for words. Nick sees it. His smile falters.
What's wrong?
Nick, he waited. He waited for you every day. It was the day after Christmas, and he was gone.
He he doesn't know I didn't come back.
He knew you loved him. That's what matters. He knew.
The CO taps their watch. Time's almost up. Nick looks at Caroline, eyes burning.
I can't be. Not long.
You won't. You're stronger than anything trying to break you.
A buzzer sounds. Nick stands, moving slowly towards the door. Before he exits, he signs back to his mother.
Thank you.
Nick stands mechanically. Caroline watches him walk away, each step heavier than the last. Nick is ushered out of the visitation room into a holding area. Another guard waits, gloves already on.
Strip search.
Nick hesitates. Just a blink too long, and the guard slaps the wall sharply.
Move it.
Nick pulls off his clothes piece by piece, exposed under the buzzing fluorescent lights. The guard barks instructions, indifferent.
Mouth open. Lift tongue. Arms up. Feet apart. Squat and cough.
Nick obeys, silent, humiliated, numb. Once cleared, Nick throws his clothes back on with trembling hands. He shuffles quickly down the hall, frantic. The corridors blur past him, gray wall after gray wall, until he finds a grimy metal door labeled restroom. He ducks inside, slamming the door behind him. The bathroom is filthy. Cracked mirror, a broken sink, but Nick doesn't care. He grips the edge of the sink hard. His knuckles whiten. And then, finally, he breaks. Silently, heavy sobs rack his body. He slides down to the floor, curling into himself. The lights shift, just a gentle spotlight on Nick, isolated, as he lifts his face towards the audience.
I think the hardest moment about going to prison wasn't leaving my past, wasn't leaving my friends, was leaving my dog. At least my parents knew where I was going. They understood. They understood I'd come home eventually. Nemo didn't understand. He got upset if I was gone for hours. How could he survive months, years? I couldn't explain it. I couldn't tell him I'll be back. And he waited anyway. Every day. Every night. At the top of the stairs. The place the small most like me. He waited. His lover gave up. And I failed him. I failed the only soul whose lover once doubted me.
Nick presses his forehead against the cracked tile wall, breathing ragged. Lights go to black. Act 1, Scene 14. Setting, prison day room, later in Nick's sentence. A wall-mounted phone booth stands upstage. Nick sits on a metal bench, cradling the receiver, his knuckles white. He dials carefully, the receiver pressed tightly against his ear. He waits. Static hum fills the silence. Finally, a voice picks up. It's Matt.
Yeah, it's me.
You're out. When can I see you?
I'm married now.
Married?
Yeah, it's easier this way.
What about us? What about everything you said?
You were just a way to pass the time, Nick. I'm sorry. I had to move on.
But any of it, yeah?
Maybe, maybe not.
Nick pulls the receiver away from his ear slowly, staring at it like it betrayed him too. Matt hangs up. The click echoes loudly in Nick's ear. Nick lowers the phone onto the receiver gently.
Brick by brick. Not because of you. Because of me.
The lights dim, leaving Nick alone under the buzzing fluorescent light. Act 1, Scene 15. Setting, prison dorm at nighttime. Dim lights. Nick sits alone on his bunk, dressed in his threadbare prison blues.
Last night. Brick by brick. And tomorrow, I step out.
The lights shift to a cold gray morning. We're at the processing center, the release desk. A guard stamps forms mechanically, hands Nick his final papers.
I'm here. You're done. Good luck out there. You're going to need it.
The guard waves him towards the exit door. Big iron doors buzz and grind open slowly. Nick walks alone down the hallway. At the end, a thin strip of sunlight. It looks almost unreal. The lights shift. We're outside the prison gates. Nick stands blinking in the harsh morning light, disoriented, scared. He is dressed in state-issued gray sweatpants, an oversized white shirt, battered sneakers, no jacket, no dignity, just cold air and uncertainty. Behind the fence, a few inmates stand silently, fists raised in solidarity. Nick signs across the distance, his heart in his hands.
I'll keep fighting for you. I swear it.
The deaf men sign back, fists against their hearts. They watch him walk away. Waiting at the prison gate is Caroline, tears streaming openly down her face, but smiling, holding a fresh set of clothes. Nick stops in front of her, frozen for a moment.
Come on, sweetheart. Let's go home.
Am I really free?
You're free, baby. You're free.
They walk towards the car together, two tiny figures against an enormous sky. Lakes fade to a soft gold. Act 1, Scene 16. Setting, a small cafe.
I almost didn't recognize you. You're standing taller now. Wow.
It's the dog. Makes me look cooler.
You know why I came? Not just to see you. I wanted to be the one to tell you. You're not the person you were when I first met you. You're not the man that was in jail cell either. You survived every lie they told you about yourself. You are brave. You are stubborn. A little weird. And you are alive. Alive and building a future with your own hands.
Sometimes it feels like all I have left are the broken pieces.
No. You have the pieces that survived, the strongest ones. You are rebuilding brick by brick.
Brick by brick.
Do you know how far you've come? From before all of this to now?
Further than I ever thought I could.
You're not finished yet. You're not even close.
Feels like starting from zero. Like I'm trying to breathe underwater.
It's going to be hard. Employment, it's a mountain.
Felony, death, double strike.
Triple. The world still thinks you can't hear them, means you can't be trusted. I've had clients, deaf, hard of hearing. They couldn't get an interview because no one wanted to hire an interpreter because of liability. You don't give up. You keep knocking. You build your own door if you have to. Do you know how far you've come? We met so many years ago, working through her death, your anxiety. Do you remember? You could barely walk into a room without scoping out every exit. You couldn't even stand a hug. You shook like a leaf. And then we had to pivot. Pivot into surviving this.
But I feel broken.
Well, maybe you are. Maybe we all are. But you did one thing right, Nick. One thing that prison couldn't touch. You stayed true to who you are. Prison changes so many people for the worse. It rots them from the inside out. Makes them meaner, smaller, crueler. But not you. You are still standing, still good, still you.
The light shifts silently. A soft golden glow washes across the table, small but hopeful. Intermission. Act 2, Scene 1. Setting, a small bedroom in Grandma's condo. Grandma bustles in, carrying a basket of freshly folded laundry. She moves slowly but with purpose. She sits it down on the bed next to Nick.
Laundry Fairy's here.
You didn't have to do that.
You didn't have to survive either, but you did.
It feels different being out.
Difference not bad, Nikki. It's just new.
Feels like I don't fit anywhere anymore. Like, like everything kept moving and I stayed there.
The world moves fast, but hearts can wait a long time for the ones they love. You don't have to climb the whole mountain tonight. One step is enough.
One step.
And maybe 2 steps to the kitchen. I made lasagna. You look like you could use 5 pounds of it.
The lights fade slowly on Nick and Grandma heading off stage towards the kitchen together. Act 2, Scene 2. Setting, a rotating series of job interview locations. A simple desk and 2 chairs at center stage. Each interviewer can be identified by a quick lighting change or a different prop. Nick sits at the desk, back straight, wearing a borrowed suit that's just a little bit too big. The first hiring manager sits across from him.
Well, your qualifications are quite impressive. We think you'd be a great fit.
Nick smiles, relieved.
Of course, pending a background check.
The lights shift. A new hiring manager now sits at the desk. Nick sits a little stiffer this time.
I'll be honest, we need someone with your skills. Just have to run the standard check.
The lights shift again. A new hiring manager. Nick looks even more guarded now.
Offer's good. Start date would be next Monday. Pending HR clearance, of course.
The lights shift again. Nick sits alone at the desk. He pulls out a cracked phone, reading an email aloud.
Thank you for your application. Unfortunately, due to company policy, we are unable to move forward with your employment at this time.
He deletes the email silently. Another email dings. Same words. Lights shift again. A pile of crumpled papers appears next to Nick's chair. Each crumpled paper a rejection. Nick pulls another paper from the file folder, smoothing it out carefully. Hope flickers.
Maybe this time.
He pulls his jacket tighter around himself like armor. The lights shift. One more hiring manager, barely making eye contact.
We appreciate your interest, but our legal department flagged your application.
Nick tries to smile, but it crumbles at the edges. The lights shift. Nick sits alone center stage, surrounded by all the letters and glowing phones. He picks up one last piece of paper.
Not broken. Not broken.
Nick looks directly towards the audience.
It's not just about filling out the application. It's not just about showing up on time. When you have a felony, it's like dragging chains into every room with you. Legal team, HR department, they're all trained to think, is this person a risk? Even when you've done your time, even when you've changed, even when you're standing there in plain clothes, smiling, trying to be the best darn version of yourself. There's still a fire folder to them, still a liability. Sometimes they won't even tell you. They smile, shake your hand, and 2 weeks later, you get the form letter. We regret to inform you. And you wonder, how many chances did one person get to start over? How many times did How many times do you have to prove you're human again? Brick by brick. One more brick. One more step.
He gathers his things and walks off stage slowly, a small figure moving forward. Lights fade, leaving him alone. Act 2, Scene 3. Setting, Nick's small bedroom at Grandma's condo. Stacks of papers, rejection letters piled up. A battered old laptop glows faintly on the nightstand. Nick sits hunched over the laptop, dark circles under his eyes. He scrolls through job listings half-heartedly. Click. Another no felony convictions warning pops up. He slams the laptop shut, breathing hard. He buries his face in his hands for a moment, then forces himself to open the laptop again. He types, "Prison education jobs." The screen glows softly.
One more shot. Just one more. What if this is it? What if this is the last no I can take? Maybe survival was enough. Maybe I don't need to prove anything.
Grandma's voice from the doorway comes.
Told you, kiddo. One step at a time.
Nick slowly exhales and opens the laptop. He scrolls and stops. A listing jumps out. Seeking coordinator for prison higher education access. Experience with incarceration, disability, or education highly valued. No background check required. Nick leans in closer, disbelieving.
Highly valued.
He clicks apply. His finger hovers over the keyboard for a moment, trembling. Then he types.
Dear hiring committee, my name is Nick Wright. I know what it's like to be forgotten by the system. I also know how powerful second chances can be.
The lights shift. A passing of time occurs. A ding sounds on the laptop. Nick hesitates, then clicks. He reads silently. Tears well up. He blinks them back.
I love you. No background check. Dr. Matthews wants me. Athanasius wants me. They want me.
Grandma appears quietly in the doorway, smiling.
Told you, kiddo. One step at a time.
Yeah. One step. And then another.
Lights fade slowly as Nick turns back to the laptop, the glow lighting up his face. Not just hope, but real purpose beginning to return. Act 2, Scene 4. Setting, a darkened stage with soft ambient light. A single warm spotlight picks out each character as they arrive.
I am a mother. I watched my son shackled like an animal because they wouldn't be bothered to see his worth. No parent should have to beg for their child's humanity to be recognized. Hope isn't passive. It's a fight, and it starts with me.
I taught other people's kids to dream big. But when my son just needed fairness, the system slammed the door. We need to tear down the walls that hide the truth and build something better, brick by brick, starting today.
I was just a kid when they stole him from me. The world taught me not to trust, but he taught me to hope anyway. To believe that people are more than the worst thing that happened to them. To believe it, to fight for it, to build it.
I'm an interpreter, supposed to bridge gaps. But what happens when the system won't even build the bridge? We need to make space for every voice, every story, especially the ones they've tried to silence. Starting now, starting here.
I worked with Nick. I saw the brilliance they tried to bury under a label. Justice isn't about punishment. It's about seeing the humanity in everyone. If we don't fight for that, we lose the best of who we are.
You don't get to sit back and say, it's not my problem. Every time we stay silent, the system swallows someone else whole. Nick isn't the exception. He's proof that we are all worth more than our worst day. Stand up. Speak out. Make them see. I work with survivors, and let me tell you, survival is a revolution. Nick rebuilt himself from ashes. If we want a world where healing is possible, we have to make space for the broken to become builders.
I failed him. I was too scared to believe change was possible. For him, for me, for any of us. But watching Nick, it shows me even the worst parts of ourselves aren't permanent. We can choose better. We have to.
I was part of the system that failed Nick. I told myself I didn't have the power to change anything. I was wrong. We all have the power to fight for better. Justice isn't automatic. It's what we build together.
Now, all the characters are surrounding Nick, forming a protective ring around him. One by one, each character approaches Nick and hugs him, slowly and reverently, building an unbreakable chain. Nick flinches at first, overwhelmed, but accepts each hug. As the last hug is given, the stage glows brighter, symbolizing that hope is solidifying into something real.
One step and then another. You don't wake up whole. You don't wake up healed. You wake up tired. You wake up scared. And you move anyway. One job energy. One no. On another. On another. But you keep moving. You don't stop building your life. Even when it feels like you're stacking brick with bloody hands. You don't give up on yourself, even when the world already did. You don't stay broken just because someone else said you would. Perseverance isn't pretty. It's not neat. It's not plain. But it works. You keep going, and someday you look around and you realize you found something. You found someone. You found yourself.
Nick turns slightly back towards the others. Caroline, Robert, Stephen, Nellie, Becky, Juliet, Mary, all watching. So proud.
I did.
The lights fade slowly, leaving Nick at the center, surrounded by his community. Act 2, Scene 6. A small downtown theater lobby. The energy is humming. Programs flipping. Soft pre-show buzz.
There he is, the man of the hour.
It's loud.
It's just the pre-show chaos. Not alarms, not counts.
Okay, now listen. Tonight, no numbers. No lights out bell. No one stitching anything into your skin. Just a show.
Nick nods, still tense. A poster on the wall reads, Les Miserables, coming soon.
Do you remember when we saw Les Mis together? You cried before intermission.
I did not.
You absolutely did. Who am I? You squeezed my hand so hard I thought you'd break it. He was prisoner 24601, and still, he wasn't just that.
You are not your number.
Exactly.
Another poster, The Lion King, bright gold.
And that one.
Remember who you are. You hear that buzz? That buzz is freedom humming.
For a long time, I thought the world forgot me.
We didn't.
And we never will. See? We told you we'd never leave.
You can leave prison behind you, brick by brick.
Just don't forget the ones still inside.
I won't. There's no place like Broadway. Not because it's perfect, not because it fixes anything, but because broken hearts get right here. Because you can sit in the dark and not feel erased. Every seat I sit in now, every crowd I stand inside, is an act of defiance. They told me I would always be a prisoner, but I'm not their number.
No.
You're just human.
Not healed, not perfect. Just human.
They all move towards the doors together. The lights fade warm. Act 2, Scene 7. Setting, a simple graduation stage. Just a podium, a row of folding chairs, a few banners that read, Southern New Hampshire University Graduation Ceremony. Soft celebratory music plays faintly in the background. A faculty member stands at the podium speaking into the microphone.
Master of Arts in English Literature, Nicholas Wright. Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing, Nicholas Wright.
Scattered applause. The spotlight focuses on Nick, crossing the stage in a simple black gown, a cap slightly crooked in his head. Dolly trots on his side proudly in her service vest, her tail wagging. Nick accepts his diploma with both hands, bowing his head slightly. As he turns to walk back across the stage, he sees them. He smiles, not a big, flashy smile, but a real one, full of quiet, stubborn pride. He steps to a microphone set at the side of the stage, and the audience quiets.
This isn't just a degree. It's proof that broken people don't stay broken. It's proof that a system can try to erase you unfairly. I built this, brick by brick, for everyone still waiting for their first brick. And I'm just getting started.
The crowd erupts in louder applause, hands and voices blending. Nick steps down from the stage. Dolly leaps up at his side and catches her midair with a laugh. Lights fade slowly on Nick standing among his community. Strong, steady, and whole. Act 2, Scene 8. Becky's office. A simple couch, a soft lamp. Outside window, a faint city noise.
They rejected me.
The doctorate program?
Said my background raises concerns.
My
Said they admire my resilience. That word, resilience, feels like a polite way saying you survived, but we don't trust you.
What did you expect him to say?
That I belong. That prison doesn't get to define me. That I'm more than a number in a file. What if they're right?
About what?
About me being too much, too complicated, too marked. Maybe I should try to stop trying to prove something. Maybe survival is enough.
Is it? Is survival enough for you?
No. Because survival still feels like a cage.
You don't belong to them. No. You're not their paperwork. You're not their charge sheet. You are not their shame. You're the story underneath it all. You read by the flickering lights. You wrote between the lines. You counted your days and syllables. They threw bricks, and you learned how to build.
What if I fail?
Then you fail forward, but you don't stop.
I'll apply again, brick by brick.
That's the Ben I know.
I am not their number.
Nope. You are not finished.
Lights fade. Act 2, Scene 9. Setting, quiet, small graveyard. Late afternoon, golden sunlight slanting through the trees. A simple small headstone. Nemo, beloved companion. Fresh flowers lie at its base. Nick stands quietly in front of it, Dolly sitting patiently by his side, looking up at him. Nick kneels down, brushing fallen leaves off the grave. He runs his hand gently over the stone, lingering. Lights soften, focuses on Nick.
Hey, it's been a long time. Too long. I missed you back. I missed the way you used to sit on the stage, waiting for me, like time didn't exist. Like you just knew, somewhere deep in your heart, that I was coming back. And I guess you were right. I did come back. I wish you could see how far you'd come. I'm not that scared kid anymore. The one pacing his stall at night, counting bricks, telling himself stories to survive. I did something. I built something, Nemo. I really did. May and Juliet, they stuck by me through every low, every silence. They pulled me out into the world again, kicking and screaming sometimes. But they made sure I remembered what hope feels like. Stephen, he's got someone to look up to now. Someone who doesn't stay broken. Mom and dad, they can breathe easy. They can grow old without carrying the weight of me behind bars. They can finally retire knowing I'm okay. I've got this. Grandma, she taught me that you don't climb a mountain in one leap. You take it one step at a time, even when your legs shake. Debbie, she reminded me that God doesn't rest in love, that it isn't earned by being perfect, that it was mine even when I couldn't see it. To done him, to done him. She looked at me in the eye and told me I was worth it, that my voice mattered, that everything else there mattered. Stamp. He taught me I don't have to drink. I can be proud of who I am. I can choose who I want to be, no matter who tried to name me first. Mark, he helped me see there's still light in the world, even after everything. I didn't build this alone. Every brick, every brick had fingerprints on it. And that's the part I'll never forget. Not everyone gets that second chance. Charlie is still locked up since he was 19, taking every class they offer, tutoring everyone he can, but he'll never walk out of those gates. Tay, he's 15. The parole board said he can't leave until he passes the GED. But Tay can't read. Laura never taught him how. It's not fair. It's not right. Good men and women lost inside a broken system. But you know what, Emma? I made a promise a long time ago, back when I was just sitting in that star, living brick, trying not to disappear. I promised I wouldn't forget them. I promised I wouldn't waste this. I carry them with me. Every step I take, every word I write, every speech, every classroom, every hug I finally learned to respect. That I finally learned to respect. This too. Thank you, Nemo. You weren't just a dog. You were my anchor, my reminder that loyalty doesn't fade, that love doesn't end, even when the world tried to erase you. You waited for me. You, you believed in me when no one else did. You believed in me when no one else did. I won't let you down. I won't let any of them down. I promise.
The lights dim softly. golden sunset deepening. Nick turns, Dolly tucked under his shoulder, and walks off into the fading light. Strong, steady, complete. Blackout. Act 2, Scene 10. Setting, a small town restaurant. A long table cluttered with half-eaten plates of food. Empty glasses and scattered napkins. Warm, golden lighting. Family and friends sit around the table laughing and talking over each other. Nick sits at the head of the table. Dolly rests at his feet, tail thumping lazily. There's a moment of easy, chaotic joy. Forks clinking, people teasing, laughter spilling out. Caroline raises her glass.
To Nick, the only person stubborn enough to outlast an entire broken system.
Wait, I want to say something first. I'm okay. I really am. They tried to tell me I didn't belong. They tried to erase me, silence me, break me. But here's the thing about people like us. We don't stay broken. We, all of us, rebuild, brick by brick. And not just for ourselves, for everyone still trapped, still forgotten, still unheard. Nothing about us without us. Not anymore, not ever again. We are not invisible. We are not disposable. We are here. And we are building something they can't tear down. Unlike Dolly Parton says, find out who you are and do it on purpose. Well, I figured out who I am, and I'm doing it on purpose. Here's to every voice they tried to silence, and every brick laid in hope.
To hope!
Hope.
To hope.
The lights hold for a long moment on everyone's faces. Fierce, joyful, real, then slowly fade to black. Act 2, Scene 11. Setting, a bare stage washed in a soft golden light. Center stage, Nick stands holding a small stack of bricks, symbolizing everything he's built. He kneels down, stacking the bricks slowly, carefully. Each brick a memory, a fight, a hope. From the wings, Grandma and Caroline walk in, each leading a dog. One, Dolly, lively and proud. The other, a gentle stand-in for Nemo, dignified and calm. The audience feels the ache of memory and the warmth of renewal. Nick looks up and smiles, bittersweet but strong. He reaches out, laying a hand briefly on each dog's head. The lights soften around him. He stands, stepping into center. He speaks, steady, unshaken, full of life.
Someday I was nothing but rubber. Some days the world tried to bury me. But every broken piece taught me how to build. Every silence taught me how to listen. I carry the voices they tried to erase. I carry the hands that held me steady. I carry him out. I carry every unseen stone, brick by brick, hope by hope, believing and even the possibility of a happy ending is a powerful thing. Living with that kind of belief, that's the most powerful thing ever.
As he finishes, the stage remains silent, sacred stillness. Then, one by one, the characters step forward from the shadows.
We have to fight for every mother's child, starting today.
We build justice brick by brick with our own hands.
Believe in second chances, even when it's hard.
Bridge the gaps. Hear the silences.
See the humanity they tried to bury.
Speak out. Refuse to stay silent. Healing is survival. Survival is revolution.
Change is possible if we choose it.
Justice doesn't build itself. We have to build it.
After each person speaks, they hug Nick one by one. This time, Nick welcomes each hug fully. The last ones, Grandma and Caroline, step forward together, Dolly and Nemo at their sides. Nick kneels to hug the dogs gently, then stands tall.
Every brick laid is a story of hope.
The lights slowly fade to black.
All right, goodbye. I think it's ironic that I'm like, oh, I think we need some time to decompress. I clearly am the one that needs the most. We are hosting a panel until 9:30, and that will include certain cast members. First, before we start the panel, I want to thank Andre, Joel, Paula, and Brian, Beth, and John Vega for being so involved this whole time. It means a lot to me, especially Andre, Ryan, and Paula. If you don't mind, I'm gonna announce that you guys are, part of the team, formerly incarcerated, and we're part of the journey together. So, we're like family on that way. So thank you so much for that. And it meant a lot to me to have the deaf community represented in the play. So I'm really thankful that drove tears. So thank you guys. I hope you stay for the watch panel because you guys left last time, but hopefully you have time to watch this time. So if Victoria could come on screen and Paula, Joe, Andre, Ryan, I'll let you guys go and just enjoy the next 45 minutes for the panel. Thanks, guys. And nobody leave. You have to watch the panel.
Hello, everybody. So powerful, so evocative and moving. I just want to give us a second to sit with that and absorb it. That was such a human experience, very visceral. Thank you, Ben. for the reading, and thank you to all of our wonderful actors for taking us on that journey. Now, I wanted to ask all of the members of the cast, feel free for anyone to pipe up before we get into talking about systems or themes. What moment in Brick by Brick stayed in your body the longest?
For me,
Go ahead.
The one that was the most real was when we went to visit Nick for the first time. Because I remember when in real life, when I and Juliet, Jenny, actually went for that very first time. Surreal. Couldn't believe that we were actually here for that reason. That this was our friend. And that emotional part stays with me the whole time. And then also the Broadway parts, because we now go and we celebrate every month watching a Broadway show together. And the freedom.
I want to add something. I'm realizing that some of you might not know. I mentioned at the beginning, but these people that are on the screen right now, the roles that they played are them. So I'm Nick, obviously. It was about me. I didn't make this up. It all this is my this is Johnny on the black. Juliet. And Sally is Becky. Sally is my counselor. She met me as she said in the play, before incarceration, during and after. And then this is Becca. So I met Johnny and Becca together, and I worked with them. Now they're my real life BFF. And I want to acknowledge that my other BFF, Sidonia, is in the audience now. And she's in Germany, and it's like 3 a.m. in Germany right now. So thank you so much for staying for that. I talk about you all the time with everybody, so they know exactly who you are. Okay, back to you, Victoria. I just thought that was important for context.
It is. It makes it all the more real, and I'm sure all the more powerful somatically for all of you to reenact and to share with people as your story. This is your shared story, your shared narrative, and that's a beautiful thing. So thank you all so much for living your truth in front of us. That's powerful. This next question is for Mom, Teresa. As a parent, what was the most painful moment to witness in this story? And what kept you going anyways?
Well, as a mom, it is really hard to narrow any one specific thing down, as you can tell. But all of the scenes about Nemo, because Nemo represented so much more than just Nemo. Nemo was enough, though. Nemo was Ben's soulmate. So that was a lot. But Nemo represented all the other things that Ben missed, that he couldn't be a part of. Funeral, happy things, sad things, and still Nemo. And we really thought Nemo was going to make it until Ben got out. We tried so hard. So that's a hard one. Yeah.
Thank you so much. This next question is for Dad, Jeff. There's a lot in this play about quiet endurance. Where did you feel that the most strongly?
I'm not sure anybody's ever called me quiet, but I'll go with it. No, I suppose the thing that immediately comes to mind is after our visits, and I echo what Becca was saying, those were very, very difficult. You know, you'd go in trying to be upbeat, but it sucks the energy right out of you. And the rides home, I think, were really, really hard. Um, you know, Teresa would get quite emotional and down about it. It took her about a day of going and laying in bed to recover. And I didn't take me quite as long, partly because you try to be as upbeat as you could for her. But that was probably as tough as any other part to me, just seeing him and then leaving.
Feeling that answer. From a parent's perspective, I can imagine how that feels, like losing your child all over again every time, but it's a price you're willing to pay just to see them. And that is so hard. Thank you for sharing that. Jenny, our Juliet, when supporting someone inside a broken system, where do you feel the deepest tension between helping and helplessness?
Just knowing that what needs to change is a system. It's not an individual. It's not even a small group of people. It is a rooted system in our country. Where do you even start?
Such a hard question. Fortunately for us, stories like these kind of give us that starting point from the human experience because it shows us where it's broken, right? Thank you. Our next question is for Becca. There's a difference between helping and witnessing. Where did this story blur that line for you?
The whole thing is just blurred. Because what could I do to help? I said it. I felt so helpless. It's there is no difference. It's all mixed together. You want to help. You want to be there for them. You want to do something. But what can you do? You're one person. And you're there for maybe a half hour with this person to visit in the system, and then you leave, and you know that, like Dad said, you try to be as upbeat as you can, but we all know it's just a mask that you put on, that we all feel helpless. I don't know. I don't think that answered your question, but
I did, because it was honest and it was real. Sometimes the line doesn't exist, right? We're the helpless witness, both in the same. And I think you illustrated that perfectly. So thank you. If I can, I'd like to ask you a follow-up question that I think dovetails into that first one pretty well. What did this story ask of you emotionally that you didn't expect?
well, I'm a pretty emotional person. I love hard. I fight hard. Cuss hard. I laugh hard. So I expected it to be emotional. As soon as I heard about it, I knew I was going to be a wreck reading it. I knew I was going to be a wreck every time we did it. But the main thing, I think I said this to you the other day, that it brought up to me, and Mom and Dad and I have talked about this, is when we thought that we were telling him and doing the right thing by saying, yeah, you know what, take the plea. Take the plea, because you'll be out. You're going to just get a probation and that's it. Just take the plea. I remember begging him. We were at the Mexican restaurant, just take the plea. And he did. And he didn't get a slap. He got incarcerated for a long time. And the guilt that I felt, because I felt like maybe I pushed him in the wrong direction. Maybe I should have told him to fight. And he was in there because of me. Now, I know that was stupid and silly, but that's how I felt. And for the whole time he was in there, the guilt of, what did I do? I should have, we all should have, I think we all felt that same way. Should have maybe said something differently to him. I don't know. But those emotions just, they're still here, even though he's out.
So much, Becca, for your vulnerability and your honesty and your strength and your courage in saying that. Because it must be so hard for every family that's trying to protect and advise a loved one in an impossible situation. And that guilt is very real when you try to come up with the best answer and there's no good one. And I really appreciate you offering that to us, because you are not alone. This is hard on a lot of families and a lot of friends and a lot of loved ones. Thank you. Ben, Nick, our star and champion, was there a moment you almost didn't include because it felt too personal or too exposed?
There were a lot of moments I felt like I could have included that I didn't, and I go back and forth on that. There was a lot of I trying to put my thoughts here together in my head. I was in the car with Jenny, but I'm gonna talk about that conversation. Jenny said to me uh, that it was interesting to see how I viewed her as a person, and I made her vote for her, if you will. And I saw her face when she said that, and it almost made me wonder if I portrayed her in a negative view or something, like I hurt her feelings or something. And when I had this, that was my initial thought. But when I had the thoughts, I was thinking about everyone else that I portrayed in the play as well. And sometimes there's good and bad both. And it's just hard to write about it. And there's one moment that I feel like I should have put in the play, but I didn't. It's like I said in the play, it was like being in a hamster cage or something, just going around and round and round all the time. And life for everyone else moved. But for me, it felt like the road just stood there. When I got out, I was remembering things that my mom didn't remember at all. Like, for instance, I remembered where I put my books in my boxes before, the prison, because it was so fresh in my mind when I was packing. And mom was looking at me and was like, that was 3 years ago. How am I supposed to remember that? But, situations like that made me realize how time kept moving. And I guess that was really hard to put into the play. And I'm gonna call out another friend of mine. I'm sorry, but still, I'm a writer. I'm a writer. I write. That's how I express myself. And this person, I wrote every single day without fail. Just kept writing. And I didn't hear from her for an entire year. 1 whole year. And it broke me. I thought she hated me. I thought I did something wrong. It was the hardest thing ever because she's, the closest person to me. And when I didn't hear from her for a year, but it makes me think about something mom said to me. And I think she was frustrated when she said this to me. Um, she said to me, "You don't realize what it's like for everyone on the outside." I think she was implying you were talking about like money and commissary and stuff like that. And mom's like, "You realize we're affected too." So it made me think about that friend and how I didn't hear from her for an entire year. And it almost didn't occur to me that things were happening in her life too. She had gone to rehab in that time for her knee, not drug rehab, for her knee, the house rehab. And I had no idea that happened until a year later. So I know that's not really answering the question, but I it's hard for me to put that on page, and I feel like I should have put it in the play, but I didn't know how. And the person I'm talking about, the Donnie, she's my best friend now, and I don't know what I would do without her or any of you, really. But that whole year, I didn't hear from you. It was almost like a death, and I feel that incarcerated people in general deal with that quite a lot because death doesn't always mean a physical death where you passed away and you're buried in the ground or whatever. It means people disappear from your lives and you never hear from them again. That's death. And an aunt of mine, my mom's sister, kind of just cut me out. And it's, she died in my mind. I mean, how do you deal with that? How do you write about that? So I guess I'm answering more what I wish I would have included rather than now. But how do you even? My old boss, I'm not going to say her name, but Becca and Johnny know who I'm talking about. The best boss I've ever had. She had to stop talking to me because just, that's her fault. She was a supervisor. But it felt like she died in my heart. And I don't know how to let go. And just grieving from that. And I'm still grieving. And I think that's what Nima really represents in the play. It's the loss of not just Nima, but of not having my silence done for a year, not being able to see my parents or Becca or Jenny for I think it was about a year and a half when COVID shut down vegetation. My son Cameron, I haven't talked to him in a couple of years. He told me that it's easier not to talk to me than it is to talk to me because he can't handle the grief and he can't handle the guilt of me being in prison. He told me that he blames himself and then he just stopped talking to me because it's easier not to. So that's just another death. So I think what this play really represents is that I never loved me. Becca never loved me. And they said that in the play because they said that to me in real life. Charlie, I remember Charlie was texting me like crazy the day before in court. I used to have things text with like like 100 texts in a row because she was so nervous, so concerned. And she stuck with me ever since. I remember my first visitation at the prison, the first time I saw my dad. I think that was the first time I'd hugged him since I was probably 5. I don't do physical affection, and neither does he. And I did it. I don't know what came of me, but I did it. Still, that's another moment in the play that was really hard to write about. It's just the fact that I can't hug people, and I still can't. But I think I've talked too much.
Glad that you talked as much
Stop
as you
talking
did.
loud. But
I'm glad you said as much as you did, because that was a really beautiful story. And I know that resonated with some of my experiences. I didn't get to have contact visits with my parents for a year. And the first time the three of us embraced in the visit room while I was incarcerated, we dissolved into a puddle of tears together. And it was a moment, just having that. And we're not necessarily super touchy feely, but it was just that moment of reunification that kind of moved all of us past whatever our sensory issues or discomfort might be, to be able to take the opportunity we had to show each other love and to connect. And I think that's beautiful that you had that with Dad. Thank you.
well, yeah, I've had that moment with everybody, but Becca forced herself on me. I was like, you're hugging me right now. No, no, no. And she does it anyway, Dad's not that type. He won't force anything on me. Mom makes me feel guilty if I don't, with this face of, come on, it's not so hard. You can do this. And my grandma does the same thing. Like, oh my goodness. But I really tried to represent that in the play. That's why I was telling you guys to really think about the narration, because I think it was the last scene where everybody comes up to me and hugs me one by one. I would never let that happen in real life. No, don't even think about it.
You're getting
But
better.
it was the representation, it was what it represented. In my head, I let it happen, but physically, no thank you. By the way, I just wanted to share with everybody. This is Dolly, my dog, Dolly. Um, she is in a pet hotel right now. And I think that's part of the reason why I broke down so hard. It's because last time we practiced, I had her in my arms. So I was able to, hold some of those emotions in. And they just all came out today. So, yeah. I really want to hear from Shelly, so I'm going to shut up.
Thank you. Shelley, our next question is for you. As a therapist, what did this story reveal about survival that people often misunderstand?
Hmm. I mean, I think that it's a complicated question. Let me start with that. I think for me, what's important for me to share is that as a deaf person, I, I do work with deaf people who are imprisoned. I know that the legal system is broken, often oppressed and very pained deaf people who are isolated, alone, without any support. And I remember the feeling of that losing, like that cliff where you're holding on to someone that's hanging off that cliff and they're begging you not to let them go, and then your hands slip and they're gone. You know that feeling, and that imagining that feeling where the system is doing that to them. The system is failing them. The interpreters are failing them. The interpreters know that when they're doing interviews with police, they don't have any policies or requirements to be certified legal interpreters. And they have to, have on when they have virtual interpreters, they have to have two ASL interpreters and two deaf interpreters, a total of four interpreters, and be recorded during those interviews. And it's not happening. It's a single interpreter who's uncertified, is dishonest about her qualifications, does the interpretation, voicing, there are misunderstandings, and then goes ahead and testifies in court. And the judge and lawyers are completely unaware. They have no idea what this interpreter's role is, what their code of ethics are. They just move along and question this interpreter, and this interpreter just voices. and says their testimony. And they ask the interpreter what the intelligence functioning level is, what their ability of understanding and seeing spoken language is. And they go through that questioning, and these are inappropriate questions. So we are so angry, so damn angry. And these people wouldn't go to jail. And that's what's most upsetting. And so for me, I mean, I already filed a complaint with RID. I filled out all the paperwork, all the violations, all of the testimonies, everything. And sure enough, after investigation, they confirmed that particular interpreter was now banned from taking this RID certification exam and cannot become certified. But still, that doesn't do justice. All of that oppression, the constant layers of oppression of deaf people in the incarcerated system is just layers. Ohio prison is one of 7 prisons in the United States that has offered a video phone for access. They have an interpreter on site. One of only 7. The remaining prisons in the entire country do not have that. It's a really scary statistic. Deaf people are so isolated, and so many deaf people who already have language deprivation are being targeted and represented through this play. You know, if you have language deprivation, that means your ability to read and write is very limited, and it's very real. And the further oppression, and they're still saying, "Oh, well, you have to graduate with a GED before you can be released from jail." If you can't read and write, how is that even possible? There are so many misunderstandings. So systematically, the frustrations and anger, oh, for me, it's so challenging. And I think that, you know, everything that came up and before and beyond, Ben has been so strong. He's such a brave man, and he has so much will, and I really just admire. I've seen him grow and really thrive and become so successful. Ben, I'm so proud of you.
So much, Shelley, for that answer that calls us to consider the systemic injustice and errors, the isolation that deaf people and people with disabilities face when they are fundamentally cut off from communication. And there is that gap in understanding that's almost unbridgeable because they're not meeting standards of accommodation and, demonstrating a willingness to be able to learn, understand, and communicate with someone who is deaf or does have a disability. I think that's so important because it just makes me recall in every courtroom where the judge always asks, "Do you understand?" And you look at your attorney, and if your attorney doesn't sign and you're deaf, how could you ever understand? How could you know what you're agreeing to or what the future is going to hold for you or how you're going to be punished? And how can you understand the weight and significance that you're going to be placed under if you agree to something? I think that's so important. And I just want to underscore what you said and honor that because I think that's something that we should all walk away still holding in our hearts and considering.
I want to say something just real fast.
Please.
Talking
Oh,
about, the
I
masking.
just want to add to something. I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. I'm sorry. I just wanted to add 2 things to that in light of what you were just said. I am also a teacher. I teach medical health care interpreters. I'm a social worker full time, but I also teach medical health care interpreting and legal interpreting college courses. I have shared this story. I emphasize this to my students. I emphatically say, don't you ever go in to become a legal interpreter until you have the proper training. And that means over 7 years that you have fully been in the deaf community immersed, because the consequences can be very dire. Additionally, the other thing that I want to mention is that my grandfather, the last place he had worked in a youth incarceration facility. And he always reminded my mother and myself, it was something he taught throughout our upbringing. So many kids that are in prisons that do not have the ability to read and write, literacy leads to issues in prison. and illiteracy, excuse me, leads to issues in prisons. So now I think that's about 60% of people who are in the criminal system right now cannot read and write. So we are not talking about just the legal system failing us. It is an educational system that has failed us before that's even happened. And beyond that, America is failing us all. We need to do so much more to have radical change to our systems. And I am hoping to see that happen in my lifetime. I'm giving my prayers to that.
Yeah, when working in the school system and with young children, young deaf children, so many times the teachers or, students or anybody will look at this child and say, "Do you understand?" And they go, "Mm-hmm, mm-hmm." It's almost like they're conditioned to say, "Mm-hmm, I understand." They don't understand. But it's easier for them just to go, "Mm-hmm, yep." And, Jenny and I fight and try to teach our kids, no, no, you cannot say, "I understand." If you don't understand and you say you do, this can happen, you know? Um, I it took I mean, still sometimes after working with a student for 4 years, he still will sometimes say yes. But it finally, you have to advocate for yourself and say no. And when people get frustrated and say, "Oh, never mind," no, I want to understand, you know. But when you have no language and you don't have a lot of knowledge and you can't read and you can't, and, everything is so small, how do you say, "No, I want to understand"? No, I don't understand. And so again, like what Shelley was saying, it starts in the educational system. It starts at home. It starts with us teaching kids to be able to advocate for themselves, to be able to say, I mean, Ben is an educated man and this happened to him. So what's going to happen to these deaf children who don't have the education, who can't read, who can't write, who don't understand, and have been taught just to do this? Sorry, but that's just.
I do not
No,
accept
no,
your
I think
apology. That's very important.
I think actually that's another way that the legal system really does kind of take advantage of the deaf. And I think an example of this is where they use technology and they push on with these questions and they pressure the questioning. They try all these different methods and nothing is getting through to these deaf individuals. They're not understanding, but they're already feeling oppressed by the police, the detectives, the pressure of the person that is interpreting for them being hearing, not having the understanding beyond all of that. So there's oppression and constant pressure going on. And the only answer they want to hear is what they end up saying. And that's the end of it. And now we have the rights to go ahead and arrest them. And this is the problem with communication as the key piece that is a major issue with the police. I'm sorry, Ben, would you
Yes.
trying to say something?
I know we only have 10 minutes left. So I just wanted to mention a couple of themes that I was hoping people would take away from this play. Why it fits so nicely with the conference because I've been watching all day and we have another day of panel tomorrow and I'm realizing, wow, I really captured so much stuff in the play that we talked about. One thing is related to, well, the biggest one for me is identity. Who am I as a person, and how do I maintain that identity? I, I, they tried to break me, like I said in the play. They tried to break me, and I wouldn't let it happen. And I think that was one strength that I had over time, like with the math stuff. That was a bad moment in my life. Um, I mean, on top of being incarcerated, of course, but I had never really had a relationship before prison at all, in terms of romantic relationship. Um, I let myself just be vulnerable and weak against this guy, and just because I wanted that attention and that affection, I guess. And I hope I have a hard time with the Matt character because I hate him, but also I feel bad for him at the same time. And most of the people in this room right now probably thinking in their head, Ben still feels bad. He should not feel bad at all. But he came from a broken home and he had so many problems, so many issues, and he tried so hard, but it just didn't come out. And I tried to portray that, both sides of him, the bad and the good. So that's one thing, identity. I also hope you took away some information from the courtroom scene. I was watching the chat just a little bit at the beginning, and someone was confused because I was not voicing during the courtroom scene. I wrote on paper. I do that because I'm not completely confident with my voice, and I believe in real life I did talk, but I wanted to represent other deaf individuals who cannot talk, and they go into the courtroom and they're just being bombarded with all this legal information that all they can do is write their name. And to be honest, I was probably in a similar situation. Like I had any idea what was going on, and all I knew was law and order. I mean, but obviously that didn't help, and I was just so overwhelmed. So hopefully you took them away from the courtroom scene. Um, Found family is a huge, huge theme in this play. Family is not just blood. And I also hope that people took away the concept of trusting yourself and trusting in your beliefs. What you know about me and what you know about yourself holds true. Um, Oftentimes people see a narrative, they believe it. Or somebody else said this, or a newspaper said that, or whatever. But one thing I try to tell people, one year for Christmas, the first Christmas I was there, I wrote a letter to every single person in my family. Only one family member wrote back. Well, that's not true, two. But I wrote in every letter, you know me, you know who I am. So therefore, trust yourself. So what's the problem? They didn't trust themselves. They still don't. And that's another thing that we have to deal with. Whether you are accused or whether you actually, committed a crime, because second chances and third chances are a real thing. And I've been taught that, being incarcerated and being around these people myself, working with them, and now what I do on the other side as a more of a supervisor type of role, consultant, I believe in first chances and second chances, and I believe that people make mistakes, even the worst ones. But you know, trust yourself, and you know who I am. And I'm not a religious person by any means. I have no desire to join a church or anything like that. But I think that was another thing that I put in was faith, believing in who you are and believing in a higher power that guides you in a certain direction. My friend Debbie and Jenny were probably the champions of that, and I probably make them crazy sometimes because some things I do are against their beliefs and whatnot. But Jenny and Debbie really embrace the love thy neighbor, line. And one thing I'm really proud of is I found people like Jenny and Becca and Debbie who, not even for a moment, maybe for a moment, but mind you, there wasn't even a moment of hesitation because I was put in jail. And I think it was the first day that I was there. I knew my parents were going to show up. I mean, I had full faith and trust that they're going to be there. I had no communication with them. As you saw in that TTY scene, mom doesn't answer the phone if she doesn't recognize the number. I think she does now. but back, but I had no, but I had to wake up the next morning saying my parents will be there, and they were. But I didn't know Johnny and Becca would be here. But that's why I did the brick thing. And that is something I actually did on that first night. I went by every brick and I put a name to every brick and I said, these people love me. I know that. I need to remember that so I don't break down. And I don't know where that came from. I guess I was trying to give myself a pep talk. Who knows? but Johnny was there, Becca was there, Shelly was there, Donnie was there, of course Nima was there, my brother was there, all people who, you know, so I hope you take away that message of trusting yourself.
Mom, you need to
I
memorize
memorize
your
phone numbers and I memorize Charlie's.
or Ben, you
You
need to
have to
memorize phone
trust
numbers.
yourself. And that's another thing that I hope everyone in this room takes away with us. Is trust yourself and believe in fair chances. There's so many other things that popped up throughout the play, and I could go on and on and on, but I'm not going to because we have 3 minutes left. So maybe, Victoria, you could ask like a final question, and we go around the room, and then I can talk about tomorrow a little bit, and then move on.
Great. We'll do a quick lightning round. For our final question, I'd like to ask each of you to give me one sentence for what do you hope people remember tomorrow? Not about the play, but about the people it represents.
There's life after incarceration.
Don't give up hope.
Maybe that people can do bad things, but it doesn't mean we just throw them away.
Friendship is a strong support.
Resilience is a survival tool.
Is it my turn?
Yes.
Trust yourself, believe in yourself, and always remember who had your back. Brick by brick.
Shelley?
Somebody wanted to know what it said on your shirt.
Why
What did
spend
it say on
more
your
to
shirt?
bury the past when we can spend less to build the future? And then we have the community logo at the bottom. Did everyone take a turn?
I think we still need from Shelley and Jenny. Did you give us a sentence?
Shelley did. Jenny got cut off, I think.
Okay.
Oh, fringe.
Oh, this is Shelley. I want to know, Ben is one of the strongest people I know. And he is an amazing human. Not only survived this, but now he helps people who are currently incarcerated as well. It's in him. And he's just an amazing leader for this country. And I'm excited that he's delved into this type of work. Proud of you.
Thank you all so much for this wonderful panel discussion following your amazing reading. I'm so glad that I could be here tonight to share this with you. Give it back to you, Ben.
Yes, sir. And I probably should wrap up by talking about tomorrow and be a good host of the conference, right? But I did want to say real quick. When I was a teacher, I felt like I was hitting a wall, you know? Anybody who was a special education teacher knows what I'm talking about. But it's so ironic that now I earn, and I know money isn't everything, but I earn almost 3 times more than I did as a teacher. And I say that because the CEO, when I left the prison, said I would never earn as much money as I did prior to incarceration. And for a moment, I believed him. I believed him, and I thought my expectations so low. And then people like Dr. Matthews and Shannon and the community and everybody in this room kept lifting that up, you know, brick by brick. So I'm really thankful for that. All right, so get some rest, drink some coffee, get some sleep. We have some amazing panels tomorrow. We had amazing panels all day today, and then of course, almost all day tomorrow. We have one on LGBT. That's going to be really interesting. We have one on technology and the lack of access for disabled people in the incarceration system with technology. And I'm really looking forward to that one. Um, we have one on re-entry and one on vocational rehabilitation. We have someone from her work actually presenting that, well, she wasn't in the same division as Mom always told me, but, and I'm co-presenting with her as well. Vocational rehabilitation. I'm hoping I'm not forgetting a panel. And then at the end of the day, we have an award ceremony where we are honoring seven champions in the field of incarceration and disability. And that is going to be a moving ceremony. So I know you guys have busy lives, but it'll make a difference. Show up and you'll get a certificate of attendance if you want one. And thank you, everyone, for your time tonight.